Good morning, everybody. I'm Ron Dunker with Oaken, and I've got a few minutes here. And what I'm going to talk about is I'm going to point a question towards my retail friends that are here and also my grower friends that are here. I'm going to ask you a question. What are you doing to secure the acres that you're putting your products on? And then to my grower friends, I'm asking you, what are you doing to secure the acres that you're leasing? And that's really where the intersection, where our technology comes to fruition. So who's going to control the land? That's the biggest question, is who's going to control the land? As we know, and I believe there's a slide in here, who's going to control that for the next 30 years? I have talked to growers all across the United States in the last 6 months, and they'll tell me, Ron, I'm good. I've got 30 years of experience with my landlords. I've got a great relationship. I've worked hard to make their land very productive, not only for myself, but for them. And then I say, that is awesome, because that takes a lot of time, takes a lot of opportunity that you have to build that trust. How are you going to secure that for the next 30 years? And if you're not thinking about that from a retail level, and definitely a grower level, there's a problem, because you've got to build that next level of trust and secure those acres. So this is a timeline I put together just real quick that shows how fast the land is going to transition. In the next 25 years, we're looking at 35 to 40% of the land switching hands. Now, if that's not a disruptor in our industry, which I've been a part of this, been fortunate to be a part of this industry for over 30 years, that's a real problem. And you really need to start asking yourself that, right? How are we going to secure those acres? Because if you lose all your product portfolio, we see a lot of great technologies here. It all stems around one thing. And what is that thing? That common thread that runs through every aspect of what we do in agriculture? It's the land, isn't it? Nobody else is applying technology to the land. So you can see 20 years isn't that far away, as you well know. So, and then what you have to account for is then what does the new land ownership look like? Do you think that the new land ownership is going to want pencil and paper and the ability for you to sit down and have a cup of coffee? Maybe. Maybe there still be those landowners that want to do that. But land is quickly transitioning from emotional heartstrings to a pure financial asset. It's just what's happening in our industry, and we really have to take account for that. So by the time we get to 2045 and we have 40 to 45% of the land that has transitioned, you've got a whole new marketplace that you and people and individuals that you have to interact with. And how are you going to do that? How are you still going to maintain those high levels of trust? How are you still going to show them, wherever they are in the world, what you're doing on their property? That's going to be hard, because they're not going to come back. And you've got to be creative. You've got to be forward thinking. How am I going to secure that land? Well, that's what we do here at Oaken. Oaken is the only platform out there that is focused in on the common thread in all of our industry, which is the land, and specifically the leased land, right? Because when you look at a farming operation, a half to 2/3 of the land is leased. And that's just going to continue to scale, because it's easier entry point for as growers continue to consolidate and scale and do all those other things, it's going to get more and more. So that's where our technology is focused. We're a technology out of Purdue University. You can see here that we have, we have over 90 customers across the United States using our technology on their leased land, and contract management. We're the only platform doing that. Also, it allows you to, it's a digital platform where you can do DocuSign, QuickBooks. We talk about data security, data retention. Our platform is just that. You can put drone footage in there. You can put all kinds of things in our platform. So basically you can share a lot of information. We're processing over almost 4,000 contracts, land contracts, barn contracts, houses on our platform, and we're almost at $1 billion worth of payments, processing the payments. So let's dive into what we do. We're a digital platform. We're mobile. You can look at your leases. You can look at your people you work with, your landowners on our platform. It's highly efficient to not only your farms, but when you start to think about it from a retail level, how are you going to help your growers keep that land in their control? So it's been a very amazing product. So what we do, we in this new era of land leasing that we're moving to, like I mentioned, we're the only platform that is helping the grower maintain the lease. So a grower should never forget a lease, because our system, once it puts it in on the back end, it'll remind them when the dates are coming of the lease coming due. Payments as well, it'll remind them of the payments that need made, and it breaks out the different payments and the percentages to all those different landowners, because that's another thing that's happening is land ownership is going from maybe 1 or 2 people to now 4, 5, and that's a lot of keeping track of. And then on the back end, we call it a land asset portal. So think of your own retirement accounts, think of your own 401k accounts. I remember I said earlier that land is transitioning to a financial asset. Well, now you as a grower can put that information in the land asset portal, give them access to that account, and you can show the leases, you can show all the payments, you can show that drone footage, that newsletter you put out. Oh, and guess what? Also 1099s, where they're always calling you and asking you for 1099s and all kinds of communication points. Like I said, this thing is a document hog. You can put everything in there and you can share that with them. The important piece here is, as we think about land transition, is how do you keep that land in your control? Well, in those conversations that I had with those individuals across the United States, mainly growers, I said, are you building a plan for that next generation? And the answer 9 times out of 10 was no, we don't have a plan for that land or to secure that land. Again, think of the impact from a retail perspective, but then think of the direct impact to the grower. With our technology, you can start to say, Mr. or Mrs. Landowner, can I start sharing this information with your son, your daughter, your niece, your nephew, whoever's going to secure that land or have that land in the future, and you can start sharing drone footage and show them that you're mowing the road ditches and all the sustainability initiatives you've done on that land. It builds that level of trust with that next landowner, all digitally, right? No more papers. You can send documents for signature, share information very freely. That's what our technologies can do. It's like I said, and so with that, the other thing that I would like to add is when you look at this technology, again, it's state of the art. Nobody else is doing it. We're not a mapping function. We do have AI capability in it where you look at your own data. We can't look. The platform itself is designed as an operating platform for the entity that's using it, so we don't share data back and forth. We don't want somebody knowing what somebody pays for rent here and somebody pays on a crop share there. That's just a bad day. It is a true management platform for these entities, growers, and such to use. If you'd like more information, I'll be around, Ron at oaken.ag, or you can go to our website, oaken.ag. Again, we're out of Purdue University. And would love to show you what our technologies can do. But most importantly, we love to listen and learn about what's going on in your operation, whether it's retail, whether it's a grower. We work with hog barns. We work with anything that has a contract. We can manage it for them, all digitally. Takes that efficiency up to an unbelievable level. Saves them lots of money, because if they lose a lease, it's a huge impact to their operation. We're talking, 6 figures potentially. And just think of that impact from a retail perspective that has. Now you've got to go out, secure that acre again, and try to win that acre over again. So it's a real disruptor that's going on in our industry, and I just want to thank everybody for the time today. Thank you so much.